Ni Tech na Msangi ya jishinde.com.
Automating the task to make sure that our code is clean and orderly and consistent will always go a long way in making sure that we have the best code base possible. Business Central AL Development offers a code analyzer which builds on top of the compiler's functionality to offer enhanced analysis of the syntax and semantics of your code at build time. And the AL language extension for Business Central contains 4 analyzers. There is the CodeCop, the PerTenantExtensionCop, the AppSourceCop, the UICop. All of them are cop, and they have different functions. Like the CodeCop is an analyzer that enforces the official AL coding guidelines. We look at the CodeCop today, but these are other analyzers that are still part of the AL language, and they have a different conventions and requirements. Like here is the CodeCop. So you only use begin, end to enclose compound statements, such conventions. The end, if repeat until, for while and case statements should always start a line. Variable declarations, maybe substitute if then else structure with case. You see, for readability, if you have a very long nested if, then it's better to have this. Maybe we can use this as a test to confirm if this one would work. So what I'll do, I'll basically open a new project, Alt A, Alt L, and then I will just go with that default runtime 11. And how do we enable a code analyzer? So the way we enable a code analyzer is by, of course, Control-Shift-P again, going to the workspace settings. We have workspace settings and user settings, but ideally a code analyzer is project specific, so it's always good to use the workspace settings, because they will focus on the project, that particular project that you're working on. So I'll search for analyzer, and if yours is not displayed when you do Control-Shift-P, just type the workspace or preferences workspace, and then it will open. I'll edit the settings.json here when you search for the analyzer in the settings, and then you'll find the different 4 analyzers that you have mentioned that Microsoft provides, and we have decided to use CodeCop, and we need to enable code analysis. So if you don't enable code analysis, even if you define the AL code analyzers, then it won't work. So you need to enable code analysis. Once you have enabled code analysis and defined your analyzer, the one that you want, we can look at a file that maybe will breach the rules for analysis. And basically here, what I'll do, okay. I have my app that has been published. Hello world. This one is not breaking any rule, but here, still in this app, we can try the if then else after enabling analysis. If let me just define a number, boolean, m boolean, and I'm breaking all the rules. If n is equals to true, then message n else, if m is equals to true. Okay, this nested if is just weird. Then message m else if O is equals to true, then message O. Okay, the code is just really weird. If I save, of course, it will try and align it. Let me see if this analyzer is working, and then else message nothing. Has it detected the nested if? Okay. So this is how the code looks like, a nested if. So if I go to my problems, of course, it is looking for this file. Okay, we haven't downloaded symbols, and but let me just reload the window so that I can see if the analysis is detecting the new changes that you have done. At times it needs the reload. When you reload the window, then the compiler uses the updated settings that we have configured. Okay. So here we have the file hello world has a has an incorrect name. Okay, the hello world seems to have an incorrect name. This one hasn't. Whatever I was expecting it to detect, if then else, then it hasn't detected, unless I had a different substitute if then else with case. Maybe this one is not too big. Let me try another one. There must be a space character in what? Okay, function call should have parentheses even if you do not have any parameters. So let me create a function. This one is a good one. T procedure no param. The name is not readable. I'm sure here. Even if there is no parameter, then we should have something here, and then we call this param function, and then we see here it will tell us that you must specify open and close parentheses after the no param. So ideally this code will work without even having any problem, but it's not readable. Someone will be confused, but they need to see that you're calling a function by specifying the no param, and the cop will tell us there's no case with us and this is okay. Okay, as part of adding readability, that one really helps. Then the other thing will be what? Let's look like in a case where maybe we don't want to enforce the rules of a certain let me say a certain rule. I don't want to enforce a particular rule. Like this rule, the file hello world is incorrect, but I'd like to use my own name in whichever I want the freedom for naming. Maybe I'm using a different language that maybe is not clear or understandable, and I'd like to use whichever name that I'd want. So it's incorrect, the file hello world. So this is rule A0215. Okay, how can you be able to override such a rule? Here in your cop, okay, the settings for your cop analyzer. So the rule set, you need to set the rule set path. The rule is you create a JSON file to define the rules that you'd like to enable or disable. And here I'd like to add my rule in this path is defined relative to the home folder. So I want mine to be in the VS Code, and let me call it .trule.json. The naming convention of the rule is supposed to be trule, and here to enable the compiler easily be able to see it actually. So let me just name my jcl.trule.json, and I can use the trule set snippet. It's supposed to be trule set, not trule. Trule set snippet to definitely get the different rule that I'd like. So the diagnostic ID, okay, what do you want to diagnose? This AL, the rule that I'd like to disable here is this hello world AA0215. That is the rule. Okay. So I need to define my rule. Maybe the name of my rule is my JCL, and the description is for my company. And then in the ID, I'd basically say rule number AA. There is no IntelliSense because I do have some errors. And the action, I'd like to say none. The justification, I'd like to define my own rules, define my own names, because this is the file hello world, and I want to change the action from having this to none. It hasn't detected yet, but I'll just define or reopen this. I'll reload the window for it to be able to see if it has detected. So let's refresh the compiler. Okay, so that error has disappeared. The one that we had about the naming of the hello world not being a valid name. You can, yes, there is some open, okay, the beauty is that you can define the rules and then look at the ones that are really not making sense to you, or you'd like to open up for some rules, and then you can basically be able to do that. Another setting is if you have a big file, we can enable, or you can change the background code analysis. You can disable. Ideally, the code analysis usually does a lot in the background for the whole project to try and look as you type a code, as you click enter, it's always looking into your project. And if you have a machine that is not so fast, you can either put it to the active file that you're working with, or the project if your machine is okay, or you can set it to none. That is, you don't want anything. The default is usually it only looks at the file that you're working with, which is okay for me. I think there is no other big deal, but I'll share links if you'd like to look at any more information about this AL code analysis. And the final thing is we can install a custom code analysis. It's not custom stone, that whatever Microsoft provides is just some of the most common, but we can have our custom. And okay, there's an extension by Stefan Maron on okay, it's a business central LinterCop. You can install this extension, and when you go to his site, his GitHub site, we can see the different code rules that he has actually added, and you can even contribute to these rules. And when we look at some of the rules is flow fields should not be editable. As at now, you can still put the flow field as editable, But for him, you just set it as not editable. And then the commit needs a comment to justify its existence. Okay, drill down page ID, lookup page ID must be filled in a table when the table is used in a list page and all that. So these are some of the good things that we can have from this rule. And ideally, I'll also be able to share a link on if you'd like to create your own rules on how you can go about it. But it's well defined. You can even have this in the discussion. You can basically be able to contribute in this repository. Okay, and let's enable his extension. How do you enable a custom code cop rule? Okay, a custom a cop, and his cop is known as LinterCop. And we can basically, it's so easy. You need to download the DLL. This code is created in C# and it comes in the form of a DLL file. And what I'll do, this is the code. This is the code that how the code looks like. And each rule is a C# class basically, and it's defined here in the class. So you can use this and build on top of it. So this is maybe one of the rules. Okay, what is it? Check parameter. And then it will be, I think it inherits a certain class. The diagnostic analyzer. Yeah, and then so this is a good naming convention, having the class with the rule 008, no filter operations in set range. Okay, you see. So just to enable your code to have some readability, to disable any filter operations. So you download the DLL. I think I have downloaded. Okay, once you have the DLL, create a folder. First of all, install the app. If you don't need the app, it's okay, but it's good to have the app. It will make the work of configuring easier. Create a folder, L analyzer, and then basically paste that extension in that folder. Then click on the LCOP, and then this LCOP will even give you an easier way of adding the settings, and we select this business central.lintercop. Once selected, it will basically go to our settings, automatically installed. So there is this analyzer folder, supposed to be analyzer folder, but I can still change it to L analyzer. And one good rule that I'd like here is the one that is saying, okay, it's good to have the analyzer folder instead because of updates. This cop will basically be looking at that. Let me just return it. Just missed out on the name. Okay. We good, we have renamed it, and we have our DLL here because it is pointed to this particular DLL. So I'd like to create a table, just a one field table with a ZAL dev tools to make work faster and easier. This table, test table. Okay, wrong convention, but it's okay. Analyzer with a code of 10. I finish creating this test table and I follow it up with a list page, a page of type list, this list page, this test table, and then I'll basically finish. And when you see this example, you basically expect now Okay, okay, is not covered by any permission set. The table is not covered by... Okay, so the property lookup page ID and drill down page ID must be filled in the table because it is used as a list page. So having such having such information before you publish your extension is really helpful, and it will help us save our time. And it's good to embrace these tools that are there if you have not been using them, that is, because they really make our work easier, faster, and better. So that's it for AL analysis today. I will see you in the next video. Stay tuned.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss the next one.